Well, that was an interesting return to the Premier League action following the international break, wasn't it? An absolute goal-fest of action and one managerial sacking. And frankly, I should also be finding myself with a P45 following my picks last weekend. The only player in the game not to get one correct result. Extremely disappointing. Well, not such a problem for Andy and Duncan, both recording big weeks as they continue to chase down Matt at the top of the standings. Our supercomputer finds itself slipping down the table even more though. It's a nice, comfortable lead for you in our Opta Analyst community there. Right then, on to this weekend's action, and we begin with the big one on Sunday evening as the post-Solskjaer reign at Manchester United gets underway with a rather tricky trip to league leaders Chelsea. Don't make it easy for themselves, do they, with this one? However, Michael Carrick will become the first Englishman to take charge of the Red Devils in a league game since Ron Atkinson. That happened back in November of 1986. And on that occasion, it wasn't exactly a celebration as they were held to a draw by Coventry City. Carrick will be the 14th different manager to take charge in his first ever Premier League game against Chelsea. But our win probability model isn't backing him to taste success here, with the Blues being given a 42.3% chance of victory. And that isn't too surprising, considering that only one of the previous 30 managers to kickstart their reign against Chelsea have tasted success, that being Duncan Ferguson in December of 2019, with the Blues recording 10 victories in that run. The thing is though, United seem to get themselves up when it comes to facing the Blues. Thomas Tuchel's side have not won any of their last 7 games against Manchester United in the top flight. And you have to roll the clocks back all the way back between 1938 and 1950 for the last time they went on a longer league run against the Red Devils. That was 10 games without a victory on that occasion. And as expected, you are backing Chelsea to be victorious here, and a win comes with good omens for them. It'll be the 5th time Chelsea have hosted United when starting the day as league leaders. They've won 3 of the previous 4 games, and each time they've won, in each of those seasons, they've gone on to win the title. Now, for 2 of the key players taking part this weekend, it's a chance to reverse their somewhat surprising usual fortunes. Granted, he spent some time at Old Trafford, but Romelu Lukaku has only scored in 1 of his 11 Premier League games against Manchester United, albeit netting a hat-trick on that occasion after coming on as a sub for West Brom in Alex Ferguson's final game in charge of the Red Devils in May of 2013. Whilst Cristiano Ronaldo has never scored a goal against Chelsea in the Premier League, making them the side he's faced the most without having done so, having tried in 10 games so far. In all competitions, it doesn't make for much better reading, having netted just once in 15 appearances. But granted, that goal did come in the 2008 Champions League final, so you might as well make the impact on the biggest stage. There's absolutely zero surprises here though that we are looking at a clean sweep of predictions for a Chelsea win, probably backed by that mean defence which has conceded just 4 goals so far this Premier League season. In fact, it's only their efforts back in the 2004-2005 season when they conceded 3, where a side has shipped fewer at this stage of an English top-flight campaign. Right then, that's the big game of the weekend out the way. Let's turn our attentions to somewhere where it should be a little tighter, at least according to our win probability model, where Brentford will be hoping that history doesn't repeat itself this time around when they take on Everton. You see, the last time the two sides met, they went down 6-1 at the hands of the Toffees, that coming in the old second division back in February of 1954. The Bees have actually in fact lost 3 of the 4 league meetings the two sides have played. Now, our win probability model is backing Brentford to be victorious, but to do so, they are going to need to reverse some disappointing home form, as just 31% of their Premier League points this season have come in home games, with the side winless on home soil since beating Arsenal 2-0 on the opening day of the season. But that's not to say things have been going well for Everton recently. You could say it's a bit of a sticky time for the Toffees. I know I say it quite a lot on this show, but I like that line. Give me something at least. It was a flying start to the season for Rafa Benitez's side. They had won 13 points from their first 6 games. But in the following 6 games, nope, not 1 point, just the 2 points is all they've been able to pick up, which is the fewest of any side in the last 6 games in the Premier League. And you in the community are expecting their disappointing form to continue, with Brentford being made your favourites for victory here. Although they might need to fix that slightly leaky defence, which has seen them concede in each of their last 7 in the competition at an average of 2.1 goals per game. Now this could be a really interesting battle in the first half of the game. You see, Brentford have conceded more goals than any other team in the opening 45 minutes of a game this season. They have actually conceded 11 so far. So you'd think that so long as Everton get off the bus, get ready to play, put themselves on the front foot from the start, they've got a really good chance of coming away with a result in this one. The trouble is, that's not happened too much for them so far this season. They've actually only scored 4 goals in the first half of games this season, with only Aston Villa's 3 fewer than any other team in the Premier League this season. I had thought this would see a little bit more of a selection amongst us Analyst contributors, but on the whole we are backing the Bees to be victorious and also keeping an eye on Rico Henry. He scored in consecutive Premier League games, having netted just twice in his first 120 league appearances for Brentford. In fact, 33% of his goals in English league football have come in the last 2 games, so it will be interesting to see if he can keep that run going here. From there though, don't get too excited about the rest of Sunday's fixtures if you go by what our supercomputer is saying, with easy victories predicted for Manchester City, Leicester and Spurs. But take a look at some of the sides they are facing. City have to overcome West Ham, who until last week had been on a very impressive run of form. But they have taken just 5 points from the 75 available in Premier League away games against reigning champions, with their only victory coming at Manchester United in December of 2001. Whilst Watford, conquerors of the Red Devils last time out, have never previously kept a clean sheet in top-flight meetings with Leicester, with their 20 games the most one team has faced another in top-flight history, whilst conceding on every single occasion. For our pick of Saturday's games, we turn to the side that come into the weekend on the back of a 7-game unbeaten run as Crystal Palace host Aston Villa at Selhurst Park, a ground at which Crystal Palace have yet to suffer defeat this season. And we have to knock our calendars all the way back to the early 1990s for the last time that they went undefeated in the first 7 games at home in a league campaign. They were able to do it in the 93-94 season, but that came in the second tier. In fact, the last time they did it in the top flight was in the 1990-91 season. Now our supercomputer is backing this run to continue this time out, giving them a 37.2% chance of success. To do so, they'll obviously need to find the back of the net, and when scoring at least once in the Premier League against Aston Villa, Palace have won 7, drawn 3 and lost 1, winning the last 6 such games. However, they have failed to score in 5 of their last 8 against the Villains in the competition, so it's a real case of all or nothing here. Now, Villa fans would have been buoyed by success in Steven Gerrard's first game in charge, but only one Aston Villa manager in the history of the Premier League has seen success in his first 2 games in charge, and that was John Gregory back in March of 1998. And you in the community aren't expecting Gerrard to follow that run, with Palace being made your favourites for victory. They have won 5 of their last 6 home league games against Villa, including the last 3 in a row. Of course, it's going to be an intriguing clash in the dugout as well between Gerrard and Patrick Vieira. They met 9 times as players in the Premier League. In the first 6 encounters, Gerrard never tasted defeat, winning 3 and drawing 3, but Vieira was able to pull it around in the end, winning 2 of their last 3 clashes. Finally, a bit of variety in the picks amongst us, with all 3 options on the table, although maybe those of us picking the draw or a Villa victory have forgotten that Gerrard's new side have lost their last 3 Premier League away games, and the last time they went on a longer losing streak than that, it was 10 in a row, split between 2 runs in the competition between February 2016 and September 2019. Again though, our supercomputer is predicting a fairly comfortable run for many sides playing on Saturday, with Arsenal, Wolves and Liverpool all expected to run out victors. It's a little tighter between Brighton and Leeds though, with the visitors being given the edge in this one. And here's an interesting fact for you. Marcelo Bielsa has won 65% of his Premier League games against English managers like the Seagulls' Graham Potter, but in comparison, just 23% against managers from anywhere but England. Well, I thought it was interesting at least. Right then, we're going to let chaos commence next week on the Analyst Hat-Trick with Premier League games on Tuesday, Wednesday and Thursday. So we're going to have a few little snippet shows for you for each day so you can sit back and enjoy that. So make sure you're subscribed on our YouTube channel, make sure you're following us on our Twitter account @OptaAnalyst, and of course make sure you head over to theanalyst.com as well, the home of data-driven storytelling. But until next time, I've been Graham Bell, and goodbye